Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today what I want to do is do a little more thorough showing you the differences between the original Dark War game and the rebooted. That way you can see for yourself, maybe in a little bit better detail, exactly what has changed. So over here we have the original game rules, and then over here on the right we have the Dark War Rebooted rule set. Now as far as content, game mechanics, things like that have not changed. The game, if you're already familiar with how to play it, as far as the skirmish or the role playing, works the same. What has changed a little bit is how the game is presented. So first, the original game came in a nice bound, what do you call it, perfect bound book. Perfectly fine. Worked great. The only problem is for some folks, and we heard you, is depending on what you're playing, it's sometimes hard to get a book and lay it flat, which is true of just about any role-playing game, rule set. It can be a pain. You just want to have something out, leave it there, and have it available. So the first big change was going to a spiral bound format, and then no more issue. Your books lay flat. So some of the content that was added was about 15,000 words of backstory. So if you aren't too familiar with the Dark War world, you can come right in and read a nice introduction as to what's going on. There's extra story throughout. So here's the big background. And this is good because Mark Walker wrote 2 novels so far. There's Revelation and Retribution. And for those who want to play in that world and you've read the books, great. This is what that's for. Now, if you haven't read the books but still are interested in playing kind of a military horror concept to help get you caught up into the kind of lore of the world, if you don't want to read the novels or haven't yet, that's here. So this gives you a pretty good idea on where you can take your gaming. The rules are also open enough that you could incorporate kind of your own lore and backstory as well. But for those that want to keep this with the Revelation and Retribution theme, there's some more backstory for you. A couple other changes. If I go back to the back here, added some more equipment. So it's a more lengthy list. So we have ranged, melee, fantastic weapons table, like magic items type of thing, and then some gear. Also, there's dollar amounts. That was added too to enhance the role playing. There's still money or equivalents, so if you want to trade things of that nature, or depending on what setting you put this into, the cost is kind of a nice addition, so you can attribute value to things. But that's really about all that's really changed. It's just some additions. Actually you get more now for your game. All right, just kind of show you here. There's your bestiary. Also had your pre-gen. So pretty much, like I said, everything's pretty much here and nothing's really been taken out. Just give you a flip through. And then, another nice thing about spiral bound. So that's pretty much it for the rulebook. So you have not lost anything, but you have gained. Another thing is change in the standees. Now, the standees we had originally, and I've got some here, perfectly serviceable, but they were just more of a plain type of silhouette. Now, you still have the same units, but we've given them a little life. They now have some pictures. I'm just looking them over with you. And then you've got some more here. Almost looks like photos of miniatures. Hadn't really discussed that, but now that I look at them, they look like photos of miniatures. So there you go. It's like having miniatures. Now they still work the same way. The game also includes the little standees, because you can either use these as a flat counter or just grab one of your standees. If I can get it out of the bag. Let's see if we grab one of the new LMG teams. Just stick it in there, and there you go. So you can use it either way. So that was the biggest difference between the previous counters and the new ones, is the artwork. So I think they look really, really good. All right, another change, well, I shouldn't say necessarily change, but another enhancement would be on the cards. So the card content, I was looking over some cards. I didn't see changes in the cards as far as like text and whatnot. What I did see though, and I thought was a very cool enhancement, was no borders. The card artwork now takes up the entirety of the back of the card as far as the card back, and that I think is a very nice subtle touch. But you'll see that that translates to the front of the card as well. So no more border, but the cards are now full art. And if we just lay out a few, you'll see here, I think it's a nice change, So you should be able to line the cards up card for card, but again, the biggest change is the artwork. So full card artwork. Let me set those aside. One other enhancement is on the map. So the maps are the same, they're the same building, but the new one has some enhancements to it. So let me go ahead and lay this out. You probably can't see the entirety of the map, so what I'll do is I'll move it around to show you some of the specific differences here. Let's see if I hold it. Try to figure out which way to put it. Okay, here we go. So these are lined up the same way. So if you'll notice, right here we go. Mostly more artwork has been added and just a few slight changes, but the map is pretty much the same location. If you look to, if I move down here, for example, one change is we've got some, looks like burnt out hulks there of some Bradley fighting vehicles. That's there, whereas the old one didn't have that. Building wise, we had this layout which had some furniture, but here it just has a few more things in it just to help give it some life. And then also here, same thing, just a little bit different contents of the rooms, a little more in some cases. So really, again, nothing has ultimately changed, but you could, in your own adventure, if you have the old map and the new map, is you could say 1 year later and then lay out the new map, and then people who have come in and out of the building, they've changed furniture. So let's see, what am I missing? Cards, counters, map, book. That's pretty much it. So as you can tell, it wasn't that Mark went out and changed things, but he's brought enhancement to the system components overall, just to make it a much more enjoyable experience for everyone. Now, one thing, if you go check out Mark Walker's blog, he just wrote a recent article which I thought had some good advice in here for game masters and players to help bring some life to your game. And he's talking about less is more. So one concern might be that, because the game rules aren't very extensive, it's not like a 200-page rule book, but you can play the game in about 10 pages. You can be up and playing. So the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 13 pages of rules, and you're playing. Now, some folks might take page count to represent, how much depth, but actually quite a bit. And a lot of it is going to be in how you use those tools given to you. So one of his examples was talking about your basic statistics. One of your statistics is will. Now, what's pretty cool about that example that he had on his blog, which I should let you go read that. So I'm going to come up with another example, not to take away from his blog, but some charisma. again, a lot of it is how you plan on doing things. So just like a normal game, they might not have specific rules for certain things, but you can easily come up with rules on the fly. So for example, you might want to, convince guards at the front of a building entrance that you have to be let inside because you're carrying some kind of cure for an unknown illness that's taking over the land, and if they don't let you in to get it into the scientists, then all is lost. But in reality, you're trying to bring in a bomb so you can blow up the place because you work for one faction, they belong to another faction. Well, a lot of that, like you would in a normal game, is just pick an appropriate stat. So we'll say maybe charisma that you could roll against, make your checks. So you don't have to add in a whole lot of rules to cover a lot of complicated situations. Just about anything you can think of can actually be covered and handled with the rule set as it is. So go check his blog, get some more ideas on how you can use your characters' statistics and use their skills to handle any situation that you can think of. And again, that is the enhancements that Mark Walker has put out for Dark War Rebooted, and we hope that you enjoy it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.